The Florida Gators are making transfer portal noise in both basketball and football.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever you listen to the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Monday. I am Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. And we spoke about AJ Brown. I was going to say we spoke about him last week, but actually we spoke about AJ Brown last week, and we spoke about AJ Brown the week before. And I don't need to make the Philadelphia Eagles wide receiver joke anymore. I think we're done with that. I will make that joke again, probably tomorrow, maybe Wednesday. We'll see however it goes. But last week we covered AJ Brown because he got the on-3 prediction, right? He got the on-3 recruiting prediction machine, said, hey, AJ Brown, Florida, which, if you don't recall, AJ Brown, older brother of Florida Gators guard Isaiah Brown. And AJ Brown was with the Ohio Bobcats in the MAC. Shout out Toledo. But AJ Brown is with the Ohio Bobcats, entered the transfer portal with a do not contact tag, which, again, in college basketball, I feel like is different than college football, especially with the do not contact tag. I feel like in college football, we'll see someone enter with a do not contact tag, and then a day or two later, they're figured out. Part of that is also just because of how many schools there are. 364. I think it's 364 college basketball teams that are eligible for March Madness and all. So there's way more opportunity to get in, way more time there. So in college basketball, when guys enter the portal, it's usually with a do not contact tag. It's usually I'm entering the portal with a do not contact tag. I have a pool of schools that I'm interested in, and then they decide between those. So it even with entering with the do not contact tag, it could take a couple weeks. Usually football, enter that, and it's pretty obvious someone tampered to get them. College basketball, way different. They take their time, go on visits, figure things out. Speaking of visits, AJ Brown is expected to visit Florida tomorrow. And one of the reasons that AJ Brown visiting is so significant, outside of Florida needs a guard, especially after losing Denzel Aberdeen, which we'll talk about in the next segment. But Florida needs a guard. Outside of that, outside of adding Isaiah Brown's brother, look, I told you weeks ago, Florida's using the power of friendship to rebuild this thing. Xavier Lee, teammates with Thomas Houck. AJ Brown, brothers with Isaiah Brown. Ben Henschel, if he's a Florida Gator, former teammates with Alex Condon. They're using the power of friendship on this thing. So that is what it is. But it's not just that. The significance behind the visit is that Graham Hall of 24/7, who, by the way, friend of the show, Graham Hall had previously reported that AJ Brown will likely only take one visit in this process. And that one visit that he takes will likely be to the school that he plans to commit to, or maybe the school that he's going to commit to on that visit. So connect the dots there. Well, AJ Brown likely only going to visit one school, and it'll be the school that he commits to. AJ Brown visiting Florida. Feel pretty good about that one. And look, when the second AJ Brown hit the portal when we started covering him, we were saying, hey, yeah, Florida should be the favorite here, right? The personal ties, the home ties, because AJ Brown played for Ohio, but he's still from Florida. His brother being here, like all that made a lot of sense to say, well, wouldn't shock me or actually it would shock me if he went somewhere that wasn't Florida, unless Florida didn't want him, which they do. Okay. So if you need a reminder of who AJ Brown is, 6'4", 210 pounds, similar build to Elijah Martin. So a similar build there. 13.2 points per game last season, 3.2 rebounds per game this past season, 1.1 assists per game, 1.3 steals per game, an effective field goal percentage of 57.4%, which is very good, a free throw rate of 39.1%, shoots 82% from the line. So he gets to the line a good bit and converts when he's there, which is something that Florida has failed to do for years. And look, I know that you could talk about March Madness, how good all the players, all the guards really were at shooting free throws. They were not in fact, for most of the year, Florida was one of the worst free throw shooting teams. And this was the thing when Florida brought in, Ruben Chinyelu and some of the other transfer players, is that they were bringing in guys that still weren't great free throw shooters. And so that wasn't an issue that was getting fixed. Bringing in a guy like AJ Brown, who's a pretty good free throw shooter, 82% in college, pretty good. He's going to be, if he's joining, he's going to be a threat at the line and a more consistent scorer at the line. Not only does he get to the line and convert when he's there, he also shoots a lot of threes. Okay? AJ Brown has a 3-point attempted rate of 53.3%. Okay? That means that of his field goals attempted, 53.3% of them are threes. More than half of his shots are from behind the three-point line. Oh, and by the way, he shoots just under 40% on those. Shoots 38.8% from three. With that, that's the thing. That's one of the reasons that I love talking about the addition of AJ Brown. Also, a thing I've mentioned many times is that Ohio plays up tempo, so he doesn't have to adjust his style of play here. He plays up tempo. He shoots a lot of threes. He gets around the rim when he's not shooting threes. He gets to the free throw line and converts. He is a very Todd Golden player. And I could easily see him fitting in the starting lineup as either a 2 or a 3. Like I mentioned, the Elijah Martin build doesn't mean he's got to play that role at all. But to be able to shoot damn near 40% on the volume that AJ Brown has shot from 3 is the really impressive part. Yeah, shooting a lot of threes means that you're analytically styled, we'll say. Converting a lot of threes means that you're a good shooter. But shooting a lot of threes, and I mean a lot, and converting on a lot of them means you're deadly. Like, you can come in and shoot 4 or 5 times a game and average, I don't want to say average like 11. But we'll say, you shoot 6, 7 times, more reasonable. Average 10, 11, especially if most of them are from 3 or in transition, and you are an efficient scorer. Then we're talking about someone being a threat, right? Especially accounting that he will get to the line probably every single game. But AJ Brown visiting tomorrow. Florida, a heavy public lean here right now. I do think that many Florida fans are expecting AJ Brown to commit. I personally am expecting AJ Brown to commit to Florida tomorrow. And hopefully we will be celebrating with a live show as long as I'm available to do it, which I hope I will be. Very excited for the possibility of AJ Brown. I think he brings a ton to the table if he's a Florida Gator. And I think that he helps you get right back with, especially losing Denzel Aberdeen, who was expected to be a big part of this team. We'll talk about that in a minute with Locked On Gators. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Join the free Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free for Everson's podcast and on YouTube. This past weekend, many Florida Gators fans, myself included, were floored. Which we'll say this a couple things. In recent days, have been surprised with the Ruben Chinyelu declaration for the NBA draft. Only because I thought it was so clear that he would not get a good response that he would come back. But hey, if he's going so that the NBA can tell him what to work on, then he's going so the NBA can tell him what to work on, and that's great. I fully expect him back. His declaration, he seemed like he still loved Florida and all that. It's just, hey, if the NBA can take in and you want to go, more power to you. But yeah, we will likely see him back. But then the bigger news, or not the next piece of news, was that Sam Alexis was entering the transfer portal. I don't think that was totally unexpected. We talked about this before. Alex Condon, Thomas Houck, Micah Hanlogton, Ruben Chinyelu, Sam Alexis, Olivier Roux. Someone has to go. Because again, I'm expecting Condon to not get the lottery grade. And I think my belief is that if you don't get the lottery grade, probably come back. So I don't think that Condon will get the lottery grade. Houck has not, at the time of recording this, has not declared. So he seems like he's just ready to run it back. Again, things could still change. He could still be making his decision. He's still got time. Ruben Chinyelu declared. Micah Hanlogton, almost definitely back, right, for his final year. Sam Alexis, odd man out. Sam Alexis shot 20% from 3 this year. Wasn't having a great season at all. Was decent defensively when he was in, but outside of that, nothing big. Think he did a good job on the glass when he was available, but there was a stretch when Micah Hanlogton came back. Alex Condon hurt his ankle. Micah Hanlogton came back, and then when Alex Condon came back, Sam Alexis was just removed from the rotation completely, which I think is understandable. And then Denzel Aberdeen the other day announced that he was going to enter the transfer portal, and I'm not saying it was a bad decision because I don't need to know his justification or anything. I don't need to know any of that. I'm not saying it's a bad decision. I am saying that I was not anticipating that. That's all I'm going to say. I was not anticipating that at all. Like, Denzel Aberdeen has been in Gainesville for 3 seasons. Okay? He didn't redshirt any season. He saw an increase in minutes every season, and a pretty significant increase in minutes every season at that too. And then now he's portaling out when he was slated to be the starter next year, and expected to be a heavy contributor. When he started this year, he did a fantastic job, right? He had 13, 10, 20, 22, and 7. He was a key part of winning this national championship for the Florida Gators. And now he's completely changed the offseason. Again, I don't blame Denzel. I don't have any ill will toward him. I wish him the absolute best. I don't know if he's willing to return to Florida, but I would love for him to. But I don't know if that's a possibility. I'm acting as if it's not. But this does change your offseason. Okay. I think that it's a higher priority to bring in more of these guards, which is luckily something Florida's already been doing quite a bit of, right? You look at basically every name we've talked about has been a guard or a wing. And even most of the wings are guys that can still be 2 guards. So we've been talking about adding guards, adding the backcourt players, because that's what you're losing. I feel like a lot of Florida Gators fans were thinking that Denzel Aberdeen would be the starter. Todd Golden said he would be. I thought he would be. And then this happened. And I will also say this. From what I've been told, this is more about NIL than anything else. Which, a couple things before we even talk about the logistics of it. One, do not get mad at a kid for this. Like don't get mad at a player for this, that he's pursuing money. Again, I say this all the time. You would do the same thing, right? Like if because so many people criticize this, and you never have the opportunity of a job poaching you. I feel like so many people when they get a new job, it's because they went looking for a new job. Right? When you're in this industry, like when you're an athlete, people are coming for you. They're coming for you. They're throwing dollar signs at you. They're throwing dollar amounts at you. It's enticing. And if you, as a normal person, as a non-athlete, were to get a call from another company, let's not even say direct competitor, just another company that was like, hey, I'll give you X amount of money to come here. You at least consider it. And if you went to your original place of work and they said, no, we won't match that, I think a lot of people would go for it. So I don't fault an athlete for chasing money there or getting their money. Good for him. I just hope that you put yourself in a good situation for future success. I don't want you to chase a short-term bag and really hurt your future like a Rashada situation there. So that's one is don't start calling him a money hungry kid or anything. Like he sat here. He was the ultimate team player for 3 years and won a national championship here and was a big part of winning a national championship here and is now leaving. So be it. Second thing, to me, the fact that this would be an NIL thing says to me that he asked for more money than Golden was willing to give him, because this shouldn't be a we don't have enough money issue. Like we've been told so many times about, especially when Florida won the national championship, we've been told so many times, oh, they're getting all these boosters are throwing money, they're getting matches, they're getting $1 million contributions from this guy, that guy, this, all that stuff has happened. I refuse to believe that this would be a situation where someone goes, yeah, Florida just doesn't have the money. And maybe it's a situation of Todd Golden saying, hey, I don't think that Denzel Aberdeen is worth that money. I think that would be more likely, but I do not believe that this is a situation of Florida does not have the money. Especially, again, I'm basing that based off of the endless reports and tweets and celebratory messages and everything that we've gotten about how much money has been donated to the basketball program after their success. I just can't buy it. I'm sorry. I just can't do it. I will say one school that I've seen tied to Denzel Aberdeen as a possibility is Houston, which would be very Miami of them to go, oh, well, you went off against us, so now we're going to give you a lot of money because you have to be amazing. And that's how Miami operates in football. You know, you go off against them, they're going to throw you a bag in the portal if you go. Yeah, one school that's been tied has been Houston, which I think he'd be a fantastic fit at Houston. I do. I think he'd be a fantastic fit. I think he'd be productive offensively, great fit defensively. So I think that'd be a great fit for him. It's just like I think that seeing that would make me go, okay, well, again, you're portaling, you're going money, but at least you're going to a spot that helps you succeed long term, and that's all I ask for, really. We are going to talk about football with someone wanting to improve his status and improve his life and his career and give himself a better shot in just a minute with Locked On Gators. There is nothing like the atmosphere of an NBA playoff game. Every bucket, every defensive stop, every moment feels huge. It's electric in the arena, and with Game Time, you can be part of it without the stress of last-minute ticket hunting. I use Game Time all the time. Game Time makes it fast and easy to buy playoff tickets, even when demand is sky high. Like I will tell you this: the last-minute deals were good enough on Saturday night that I almost went to Detroit Pistons at New York Knicks. That's how good the last-minute deals were. Because don't forget, those last-minute deals can save you up to 60%. I almost went. I did. I very, very sincerely considered it. Ultimately decided not to. But take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app. Create an account. Use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account where you can Locked On College for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets. Lowest price guaranteed. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free wherever the podcast and on YouTube. And to wrap up today's show, we're going to talk about football for a bit because Florida is indeed setting up a visit with a player in the portal, another Miami player in the portal. This time it's safety Zaquan Patterson, Zaquan Patterson was a 4-star safety in the 2024 class and went to Miami, played in every game. So this isn't a situation of, like he wasn't getting any playing time. He's a bum. Don't let anybody spin anything like that. Don't let anybody twist anything like that. It's not true. Okay? Like don't let people lie. That's a big thing. Don't let people lie to you and don't further amplify their lies. All right? Because Zaquan Patterson played in every single game for Miami in 2024 as a true freshman. True freshman, played in every single game. I think that I feel like that holds weight. I get we could troll Miami, ACC, anything. We could talk all that. But he started every game, or he played every game, started one game, and was a contributor on that team. He had the third most safety snaps here in the entire team there. He was a contributor consistently. I don't want to say significant contributor. I'm not going to gas him up like that. But I will say he was a contributor, played every game. And yeah, started the bowl game against Iowa State, played considerably, and was there for Florida, played every game that was available. He's set to visit Florida at some point this week. He said that he's going to visit multiple schools, which we've been told should include Ole Miss, which is not surprising. And again, at the time of recording this, we don't have any confirmation of this. This is purely me speculating. It wouldn't shock me if Georgia kicked the tires there, because T-Rob, who is now at Georgia, when he was at Alabama, they were recruiting Zaquan Patterson. They were in his final three. And so T-Rob is now at Georgia. I considered putting Auburn on there, but Auburn had Zach Etheridge, who's now at Miami. So no, not going to be there, although they were also in his top three. I would have followed Etheridge wherever, but he's at the school he's presently at there anyway. So it wouldn't shock me if Georgia got involved there. Zaquan Patterson is more of a boundary safety than anything else. And we do know that Florida has used the terms and has pretty much, with this defense that you see a lot with Ron Roberts guys, they will call it boundary or field. Boundary is the guy that's closer to the line of scrimmage. Boundary is the guy that he has a larger role in the run game. And boundary is the guy that many people will say box safety. Those assignments, very similar. Not necessarily always in the box or anything like that, but assignment-wise, pretty similar to a box safety. Boundary box fits there. Just remember B. So, yeah, there you go. Field is deep. All that. So I do think that Zaquan Patterson is more of a boundary. So while you would be losing Gregory Smith III and replacing him with Zaquan Patterson, I don't know if it's so much a one-for-one swap. Just in terms of stylistically, I think they do different things, but you'd still be adding a young safety and replacing a young safety there. So that would be the move if you add Zaquan Patterson. He would be a nice depth piece that I think, like we talked about safety a bit last week, right? Because the transfer portal opened last week. And so we had this conversation about, well, what would Florida add in the portal? And many people, I said I would look at interior defensive line and corner. And I didn't say safety wasn't a need, because I know that I had quite a few people saying that safety wasn't a need. In fact, in that episode where I talked about what the needs might be, I explicitly said I could see upgrading the safety room, but I don't know if this staff will do that if they're looking for an impact player. Because Billy Napier has been very open about who he likes to add in the spring portal as impact players. He likes to add positions that can relatively fit in seamlessly. Like a receiver, you got to learn your routes and you got to know how to run them. Obviously, there's option routes and stuff where it needs to be a little more complex, but for the most part, you got to learn your routes and run them and then catch the ball. Like we've talked about, tight end is not a position that they're going to add in this spring portal for an immediate contributor, or probably even in the winter portal for an immediate contributor, because it's such a complex role in this offense that you need to take your time. You need to learn. You need to sit for a year. One of the reasons that they took in Caleb Rillis from Air Force last year was that he had to sit for the year. And so he'd actually be able to learn the offense and be able to contribute this year. Big. Safety is one of those spots that I look at because you need to know so much and communicate so much. And I don't think it matters if we're talking about field safety, box safety. I don't think that matters. Mostly because you just have different responsibilities there. If you're the boundary safety, you have more run fits that you need to worry about. It's less read, react, more attack, more know where you're supposed to be. There are different responsibilities, different assignments there that make things difficult or make things just more complex for that position. That's why I've said I don't know if they bring in a guy they expect to be an immediate impact player. However, if they can bring in a guy that has multiple years of eligibility remaining, that he can come in, be a depth piece early, and compete for a starting spot down the line, that's a different conversation. And with Zaquan Patterson, that's what that would be. I would not expect him to be a big-time player this year. No, you've still got Jordan Castell. You've got Bryce Thornton. You've got the young guns. They're looking good. I wish that Greg Smith III was still here, but he's not. We're not going to cry over spilled milk, right? It is what it is. But Zaquan Patterson would be able to come in and be a depth piece. And then in 2026, compete with whoever's still left. I don't know who's gonna be here, who's gonna declare, who's in a portal, whatever it's gonna be. But in 2026, come compete with whoever's left and figure it out then. There's a path to playing time here, the path to being a depth piece right now. Because again, he's only been in college for a year, but again, he played a bunch of games. He started a game. He has actual college experience. He's only got 1 year, but that's a leg up over Laganza and Hilton Stubbs. I don't think that he's, this all SEC player right now at all. Of course, I'm not going to say that, but I do think that experience should be able to give him the leg up over a Laganza, over a Hilton, at least as far as being behind in this depth battle. I think that Zaquan Patterson would be able to compete right there. But again, we're talking about someone who is setting up a visit and is going to visit multiple schools. If there's even one school that's just needy at safety, it wouldn't shock me if they paid a lot to get Zaquan Patterson there. Again, we're talking about a guy who was a blue chip last year, who played Power 4 football. Like we're talking about someone that contributed. I think that adds a lot of value to him, and I could see a program seeing him, watching him from last year and saying, hey, let's get this done. Let's give him the money. If that's all it'll take to get him to commit, or whatever it is. Let's give him his playing time, his NIL, his jersey number. I don't know what he's looking for. But I could see a team going all out to get him. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free wherever the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back tomorrow. Talk more Florida Gators football. Probably talk some more Florida Gators basketball as well. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work for New York Giants on SI, and I'll see you all next time.